I want to talk today about worldviews or philosophies. As someone very interested in ways of seeing the world, or maybe we could call it attitudes one can take. One question that comes up is the relationship between them. So I'm going to represent these views, a worldview as a circle here in paint. I find sometimes just a visual element helps think and talk about an issue or topic. All right, so to get to the point, let's say there's two distinct ways of looking at the world. Here we've got, I'll even label them. We've got A here, and then we've got B. And then the question is, if these people have total confidence, whoever's holding these beliefs, two people holding these beliefs have total confidence in their beliefs. They are representative of two distinct beliefs without overlap. There's not like some overlap. They just see the world distinctly. Maybe we could think of a very left-leaning person, extremely right-leaning person. They don't really share in premises. The question is how to analyze these views. What can be said? Because if we talk to person A says, I'm right, and he points at himself, and B says, I'm right. And the question is, if we want to weigh these views or measure them or think about them, we necessarily have to have our own position when we're looking at them. And this is a problem I notice a lot in political analysis. Is the person doing the analyzing will pretend they don't have a view. They'll pretend they're this universal element, that they're everything, and they're like this objective observer. But I mean, this is essentially the problem of postmodernism, is that there is no objective observer. Of course, like if we imagine A and B having an argument, they can communicate in that B could say, given you believe these things, there's a given you believe two things, there's a contradiction. So and they can maybe, if A has a belief in being consistent and A has two inconsistent beliefs, they can affect each other. So you can still change each other's opinions somewhat, but there is no way to say, hey, look, I believe this, therefore this. Well, if A doesn't have those, if A doesn't share those, then this argument is useless. So the same thing applies to C watching this. Like any analysis coming from this third person, it's coming from all their premises, which I'm making as subdots, their beliefs, all their axioms. We really haven't, when someone pretends, hey, look, I'm not right-wing and I'm not left-wing, I'm this third thing, it's not a move in, like a lateral move. They haven't gone up the hierarchy. They haven't demonstrated superiority merely by the fact that they're not these things. Like, we shouldn't trust C's analysis of B any more than B's own analysis, unless there's some other element at play. And all this is getting at the same question. How can we think about different worldviews or attitudes? How can we conceptualize them when each place to stand in this reality is its own? And there's a lot that could be said on this. What I want to introduce today is one main idea, in analyzing this. I give it a name, the higher but not higher. And I've written some essays on this, which I haven't published anywhere. But this is the best name I come up with, a asymmetric relationship. And it's kind of a wordy phrase, but for me, it's the best way I could think about this relationship, where we want to say a way in which one view is higher, but it's simultaneously not higher. Okay, let me explain. For this, maybe representing these worldviews, maybe as like a cliff would be better. Let's reimagine instead of circles, like cliffs, height. Let's imagine a person here says, this guy, he's standing here. I'm going to do a little stick man. I know this drawing slows down the video. Too bad. Okay, we're going to do some crude stickman. Okay, let's say this guy here says, I'm higher. All right, he's like, I'm higher up than you. My cliff edge is way far. And this guy's like, no, I'm higher than you. Okay. Now, this is the impossible postmodernist situation that I was talking about, where we have two views and there really is no way to absolutely say one is better. However, there is something I've noticed is that there are situations where a person from A, for some reason, grows or changes and they go to B. And when they get to B, they say, now that I'm at B, it's higher. I was wrong before. I can see this and I can see this. These are supposed to be eyes. I can see the difference. And now I see it's higher. And there's probably examples you felt in your own life where you maybe were a kid and you were very happy with something. You thought you knew. Your parents are wrong. You just wanted candy or whatever that thing is in your life. There's a point in your life where you really thought you knew and you were right and you had nothing to learn. And then at some point, you found yourself on that other edge. And now you do see that it's higher. So there would be, we call this the higher but not higher, where B is the higher but not higher. It's higher, but also not. Not if you're A. It's not higher if you're A. But why we do say it's also higher is because if you were A and you went to B, you would agree. And if B went to A, he wouldn't have that perspective. If B somehow changed his mind, he's like, you know what, you're right. Your opinion is right. I'm going to go down here. He would say, I'm lower. So this is like an asymmetric relationship where what we can go, if we go back to our circles, A and B, we can say, if there is a situation where someone who had this worldview or attitude, they became this, and they thought it was better. They've now had the experience of being both of these. They've subsumed both worldviews, and they say, this is better. They now say it's better. And if the reverse is not true, where B becomes A, he says this is not better. Then we've got an asymmetric relationship. And this I like to call, or I have been calling, the higher but not higher. And it's a pattern I've noticed a lot in my own development. And where there is, it's like whatever you are that thing. You're fully yourself in that moment. So how is it possible to grow? And the only way is to have some acceptance that like your completeness has an incompleteness within it. You have to be open to the possibility of something higher, which you cannot recognize as higher due to the very fact that you are not higher. So we call this faith or letting go or openness. It's that my very value system, which I'm used to measuring my growth, may itself need to grow. And the only way to open yourself up to that is to say, is to conceptualize an asymmetry to where you might be. That where you might be have new values to judge the movement itself. And that's the main idea. There's more I want to say on this, but I want to keep these not too long. So in terms of viewing different, in terms of different topics and ways and lenses of thinking of different attitudes and worldviews, we could say this is part 1, the higher but not higher. So thank you for watching.